Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing the power steering on the S13 with a VQ swap in there. We're keeping this budget, and I was looking around and it's right around $250 to $350 for everything to put power steering in a VQ car in an S13. But a few weeks ago I was doing research because I'm putting a Dodge Durango pump on this, and I found fittings that screw into the rack, right? And they're high pressure. But then I started looking at what fittings they were, and they said it was compatible with an S13, S14, and 350Z. So now here I am thinking, with the grand scheme of things on the high pressure line, if the rack fittings are the same, then the 350Z high pressure line should work. And that's gonna save us quite a bit of money. Everything we have on hand, as you can see, this is everything from a 350Z power steering. Now, we might have to buy some soft rubber hoses, a little bit different, just because of the fact of where the lines are gonna come through the chassis on a 350Z are not gonna be the same as the S13. But I'm gonna kind of walk you through this process and show you how I do it. Hopefully it saves someone down the line of money, but it also shows you how we can make budget things happen on a budget car. As you can see, stock S13 racks, stock S13 rack lines. Now this is your high pressure and then your low pressure, or vice versa. I don't really remember. However, we're only gonna be reusing one. The other we're gonna get rid of. As you can see, it comes up and over right here for the power steering, like factory loop as a cooler, I guess, without having a cooler. But we're just gonna reuse the low pressure. We're gonna cut it right here, and then we're gonna run a hose all the way to the front and then back as a cooler. But yeah, look, cobwebs, nice. Here's a closer on the right side. You have an S13, on the left side you have 350Z. They look pretty much similar. I'm gonna toss this in and see how it looks. So you can see this, I bent this line up. This is a high pressure line. I bent it up so I wouldn't have any rack interference. High pressure line comes up over. I bent it under this, so it's gonna stay, not at the lowest point of the car. It's still gonna stay above the subframe. And then it just goes up and around just like a factory 350Z. This is all factory stuff, guys. There's not a single aftermarket when it comes to this power steering setup that I'm running. 100% stock, OEM, factory. It costs you $0 if you take it all from a 350Z and then this one hard line from an S chassis. And even the 350Z, I think if you just take that one fitting, you could thread the fitting in there. I'm not entirely sure. However, I just use this because it's what I had. But yeah, $0. If I can make it happen, you can too. Let's keep this thing budgeted. Let's see a little update. So I got this on here. This is you see the high pressure lines run underneath the car, and this is a low pressure line for the reservoir that comes off the pump. And then the factory loop you saw in the previous clip went under the rack and then turned. Well, I bent it kind of straight. Got it to come, see if I can even zoom in on that. You can see it comes straight out of the rack. Right there, comes up, comes over. I kind of bent it straight, goes all the way out to the front. Now this wasn't really the plan, but I was gonna try to turn it. But as you can see, when I tried to turn it, it decided it had other plans and snapped. I could have used a tubing bender, like a little small one, conduit bender or something to make it straight. But as of now, really, that's all you see. That line comes straight up, but it's in great positioning because now I have the factory 350Z cooler and lines that came off the car, and now I'm gonna just kind of do some little, I don't know. We're gonna see what I come up with, but we're gonna use all this because budget build, this came with a car, cost us $0. Let's make this happen. It is now all done. Total cost in, $0. I had the stock S13 low pressure line, and I had the 350Z complete line because I parted out a 350Z. So I used the 350Z high pressure line and all the lines for the cooler. And that was literally it. I mean, I didn't use, here is the one that comes from the rack, goes all the way over. That goes to the cooler. I didn't use that. I went ahead and just reused everything. So kind of walk through again. 350Z high pressure line factory from the rack to the pump, 100% factory, nothing changed there. 350Z power steering pump, obviously I'm gonna make a new bracket and everything, but it's just sitting there, it'll work for right now. Here is the factory drain from the reservoir, and then going to the cooler. This is a 100% factory line. I did not modify this line at all. I just ran it right here. Now here comes a little bit of a kind of a weird situation, right? I'm running hood pins. I'm not running this, so I don't need this. I don't have to worry about it. But if you weren't running hood pins, you could easily just take this and then drill a hole right there and everything worked. But this is still the factory line. I just loosened the clamps, turned them so the hosing would line up a little bit better. Looking here, here's kind of the tricky thing. This is the return side of the cooler, or I guess coming back from the reservoir. This one goes up and over now, and it goes to the factory S13 line that I cut and trimmed, as you can see. Let's see if I can focus on it enough. Probably not. Maybe. Yeah, so it goes to the rack right there. You can kind of see the rack. If you can't, I'm sorry. I'm terrible at filming, but it's official. Hard mounted, everything is good to go. I'll probably zip tie this out of the way, and then I'll put a worm clamp on this side too, even though I have this factory clamp, just I don't really trust those. But yeah, $0. We have a factory power steering setup, ran in the S13 from a 350Z. But now, let's do some wiring.